To begin, you're going to want to take this piece of canvas that I gave you. It probably has some clay remnants on it like mine does, and set it out in front of you. This is a great work mat. Next, I would like you to grab a handful of your clay, and I would like you to work it and knead it, which means squishing it together between your hands. And you might hear popping and squishing of some of the air coming out of the clay. And that's what we want to happen. We want to get air bubbles out. I would love you to break off little bits. You may experiment with size to see what size pendant you want to get. Take one of these little chunks of clay that you have pinched off, and what you can do is roll it in your hands or on the surface till you get a decent round ball. You do not want your clay to crack or be dry. And you can set that aside and pick another one. And again, roll it in between your hands. Or you may use the surface of the table on that canvas mat you just put down. You can squish it in between your fingers. You may make as many of these as you would like. You are going to turn one in for a grade, and I would suggest making a few, because as we try something new, some may be successful and some may not. So I have rolled up quite a few little clay balls here, and they're about the size of a quarter or so. For the next step, I would like you to take a piece of paper, one of the ones out of your art kits. You have some sketch paper that's a gray or a manila color that you could use instead of the white drawing paper. All I have is my white drawing paper. Take a look at different soles of your shoes. They're all going to have different patterns, shapes, and designs. I am going to experiment with quite a few. Try to make sure they are as clean as they can be. I am placing one of the balls of clay in the center of my paper to take my foot and step directly on that ball of clay. And then going to lift my foot up, and I should have an imprint of the tread of my shoe on the circle. So now I have the imprint from my shoe on the circle. I'm going to lift that off the paper. And with squishing it, some of the edges start to crack and get dried out a little bit. I'm going to show you how to fix that up. You may repeat this process as many times as you would like. I got a little cup of water. All I'm going to do is dip my finger into the water and just slowly rub and smooth those edges until the cracks disappear. Anytime it dries out, I'm just dipping it back in. I can do this along the back as well. And once I am done going around all the edges, I'm going to put this down on this canvas mat to dry for a few minutes before we try to poke a hole in it. I can take my finger and wipe down any of the clay that's kind of lumped up and smoothed it. Then what you want to do is poke a hole in it. What I like to do is use a straw. I just grabbed a plastic straw. It can be a reusable plastic straw, a disposable one. You could use a pencil, something a little bigger than a toothpick. And what I'm going to do is take that and poke it right down in and twist. And when I lift, I should get a hole so that now I've made this a pendant where it can be hung from that hole.